The levels, one of the most frequently asked questions we get about their electronic collar is, what levels do I work the dog on? And this is going to be wildly variable, so it's important that you keep this in mind. And how intense the experience needs to be for the dog is going to be dependent on the type of activity, their temperament, and the type of activity they're engaged in. So some dogs are very sensitive to the electronic collar, so super low levels are going to work beautifully. Other dogs who may be sensitive to other tools in training are not at all sensitive to the electronic collar, and you can get into levels that are quite high before they actually act like they're feeling them. So that one of the aspects that informs their choices of levels is that specific dog's temperament and sensitivity to the collar. The other is the types of behaviors we're working on. So again, if I'm working on a behavior that is not intrinsically self-reinforcing, and I'm not dealing with strong competing motivators, then very low levels tend to work, right? And I can get the dog on a very low level to interrupt a bad behavior and then reinforce good behavior, and the levels might be very low, and low levels might be quite productive. In highly arousing situations, like protection work or other high arousal activities, the adrenaline and other chemicals released in the dog's body are going to inhibit the collar's ability to work at lower levels, and higher levels of intensity are going to be necessary. The other thing is, for certain types of behaviors, when the dogs cannot engage in other self-reinforcing behaviors, I can allow them to make certain mistakes and not reinforce them, and only reinforce them for the right response, or reward them for the right response. Other types of mistakes I cannot allow the dog continue to make. So I can't allow my dog to not sit and go chase a rabbit. I can't allow my dog to repeatedly bark or aggress or other things. Self-reinforcing behaviors, I need to stop them from doing that, rehearsing them. And so I can do that through management in certain cases, but then sometimes aversives are necessary. And because the dog's frequently stimulated in these circumstances, the levels are going to be higher. So be prepared that if you were in a distraction-free environment, the levels necessary are going to be very low. And in higher distraction or in rousing situations, or with strong competing motivators, or when it pertains to activities that are self-reinforcing, the levels may need to be higher. So be prepared to adjust those and react accordingly.